What would you do if the person you loved most, someone you believed had died 20 years ago, suddenly appeared right in front of you? And what if standing beside her was a young woman who looked exactly like you? Today's emotional story follows Michael Carter, a devoted single father whose life changes in a single moment at a crowded train station. What begins as an ordinary day soon turns into a shocking reunion filled with secrets, heartbreak, and a miracle no one saw coming. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. Now let's get started. Michael Carter had spent 20 years carrying a grief that never truly faded ever since his wife Emily was declared dead after a boating accident on the coast of Maine. Life had felt incomplete. He had been forced to move forward for the sake of their son Ethan, who had been only a baby at the time. Michael worked hard, built a successful career, and did everything he could to be both a father and a mother to his child. Yet every night before going to bed, he would glance at the framed photograph of Emily sitting on his dresser and wonder what life would have been like if she had survived. On a cold autumn afternoon, Michael arrived in New York City for an important business meeting. The sky was gray and light rain tapped against the glass roof of Grand Central Terminal. The station was crowded with travelers rushing in every direction. Michael stood near platform 18, checking emails on his phone while waiting for his train. As he looked up, something caught his attention. A woman standing across the platform looked strangely familiar. At first, he dismissed the feeling after all. 20 years had passed, but then she turned slightly and his breath caught in his throat. The shape of her face, her smile, even the way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. It was Emily. Michael stared. Unable to move, his heart pounded so loudly that he could barely hear the announcements echoing through the station. He told himself it was impossible. Emily was gone, everyone knew that. Yet the woman standing there looked exactly like the wife he had mourned for 2 decades. Then he noticed she was not alone. Beside her stood a young woman in her early 20s. She was laughing about something, her eyes bright and warm. When she turned toward Michael's side of the platform, he felt a shock run through his entire body. The young woman had the same striking blue eyes he saw every morning. In his own reflection, Michael could no longer stand still. Ignoring the crowd around him, he hurried across the platform, his mind racing with questions that made no sense. His hands trembled as he approached the woman. The closer he got, the more certain he became. Every feature, every expression, was unmistakably Emily when he was only a few feet away. He whispered her name, Emily. The woman froze. The color drained from her face as she slowly turned toward him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then tears began to fill her eyes. Michael, she said softly. Hearing his name in her voice shattered 20 years of doubt and grief. Michael felt overwhelmed with emotion. How is this possible, he asked. Barely able to speak, Emily explained that the boating accident had not killed her. She had survived but suffered a severe head injury that left her with no memory of who she was. Rescuers had taken her to another country, where she spent years recovering, without any identification and unable to remember her past. She eventually built a new life. Only years later did fragments of her memory begin to return. As Michael struggled to absorb the unbelievable story, his eyes moved to the young woman standing beside her. The young woman looked equally emotional. Emily gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Michael, this is Sophia. Sophia stepped forward, her eyes shining with tears. I've heard about you my whole life, she said. Michael stared at her in disbelief. Emily revealed that she had discovered she was pregnant shortly after the accident. Sophia was his daughter, a child he never knew existed. The realization hit him like a wave. 20 years of lost birthdays, missed hugs, and unanswered questions suddenly made sense. Sophia embraced him tightly, and Michael wrapped his arms around her, struggling to hold back tears. In the middle of the busy station, a family that fate had separated for 2 decades was finally reunited, proving that some bonds can survive even the longest absence.